Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Yinzer Brothers podcast. I am TJ. I'm here with my brother Tim, and we are the Yinzer Bros. Today is the Steelers-Ravens post-game show. The Pittsburgh Steelers defeated the hated Baltimore Ravens 28-24, and it has been just an amazing night. Tim is once again donning the Franco's Italian Army hard hat. 7 games, 7 times he's worn the hard hat from the 70s. It's a good look on you, Tim, and it's a great thing. I mean, what an amazing game. What a roller coaster ride of emotions. I could tell you this, Tim was a mess. He was a hot mess. He was texting me the whole game, calling me, FaceTiming me. It was crazy. But in the end, we pulled it out. I
was a hot mess, man. This game had me all types of roller coaster emotion, man. Haven't been this way. The sad part is I went into this game going, this isn't that big of a game. And then after Spillane's interception, that all went out the window. I go, we need this one. We have to have this is a must win. And the roller coaster just began.
He was a mess. He was going up and down. He went from, this is great. 41 is my guy, to get rid of the bomb, get rid of Claypool. We're going to get beat. We should be getting beat 50-0. And then
truthfully, after that first half, we should have been getting hammered. We should have been getting beat 50-0. I mean, they were running down our throats. We couldn't do diddly poo on offense. I was going, well, I mean, this is, it felt like we were getting slapped in the face with a 2x4 and there was nothing we can do.
But in the end, we prevailed. We prevailed.
Boy, was I wrong. I mean,
you were. So I got to ask you, how does it feel, Tim, to be 7-0?
I mean, it feels amazing. It feels incredible waking up every Monday, knowing wherever I go, I can poop all over anybody, everywhere. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
You're the king of the world. We're the king of the world right now.
I could be dressed up like Steele and McBeam all week. Nobody can say crap to me. It's great.
They can't.
I mean, the people have to understand, like, the sacrifice I'm making wearing this helmet, this thing is ripping my head to shreds.
And it was made in the 70s, so it's probably loaded with asbestos or something.
But I'm putting it on for you, baby.
You are, for the fans. You are. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing.
I mean, it feels wonderful. It feels wonderful.
So,
I mean,
you know what I heard today, and who would ever thought this? I actually heard today talk of the undefeated season. And I know that's still a ways off, but you know what? There's a conversation about it. When's the last time the Steelers were in any conversation about possibly being undefeated?
It would be great just to shut. Are any of those people up they still alive from the 70s Dolphins team?
Oh yeah, they still hit that champagne.
It would be poetic justice that the Steelers are the one to break that. It would be because we're the greatest franchise in the world ever. Yes. On the planet of any planet in the solar system. It would just be, it would be incredible just to take our foot, stick it sideways and stick it right up Mercury Morris's rear end. It would be great.
But by the way, guys, this is the fun Tim. Sometimes we have the Tim that lives in his fears, but this is the loosey-goosey victory Tim. And I like this Tim. This is a good Tim. So we really don't know how it feels how to even act at 7-0, do we?
No idea.
Yeah, we don't even know what to do. We got to figure that out. So what was your overall feeling of the game?
I mean, I don't think we had any business winning that. I mean, TJ, we should have been down 50-0 in that first half, 50-7 in that first half. Baltimore was beating us in every aspect of the game. Jordan Berry, he had a good punt at the end of the game. He still shouldn't be on that plane to come back here to Pittsburgh.
Is he on the list?
He stinks, TJ. He stinks.
He does stink.
Yeah, he's on the list, been on the list, always on the list. We won that game despite my pick for defensive player of the because Edmonds was terrible that game.
He was bad.
I mean, the second half was just like you kind of once they let Ben, and it happens all the time with Baltimore, it seems like right when we go into that no huddle, that's when the whole game's always changed against Baltimore, and Ben's calling plays at the line of scrimmage. So I mean, it was a tale of two halves. He looked terrible in the first half. He looked terrible. Second half, man, he was deadly. He was deadly. He was deadly.
I mean, and let's just be real. Coming into the game, I mean, you know, the Ravens. How often are you 6-0 and not favored to win the game? So the Ravens came in. We were the underdogs, which I thought was ridiculous. And again, they were a high quality opponent. So you see, when the Steelers play against them, they're arguably, you know, in the top 5 as far as teams in the NFL. Yeah. And even though it was a roller coaster ride, I thought, again, we would be successful against them because it seems like we have Jackson's number. Lamar Jackson plays terrible against the Steelers.
Here's what I don't understand is this. Like, if I'm them, I would have never let him pass the ball the whole entire game. I would have ran that up the middle, whatever the heck they were running. I would have just ran the ball the whole time. I didn't understand any game plan of exposing Jackson to have him throw the ball. You didn't need to.
No,
I mean, you really did.
It all comes down to coaching. So, I mean, it is, and I just thought Harbaugh made a couple head scratchers. We'll talk about that. Well, the big head scratcher toward the end of the game, I don't know why he doesn't kick that field goal. He kicks the field goal. He's probably going to get the ball back again, and then you just need a field goal to win it. Instead, he goes on that 4th and 2.
TJ, to me, you're gashing the Steelers. I wouldn't have ran Lamar on a quarterback draw. I probably would have gave the ball to Edwards or ran that. They ran that option like 7 times in a row to each side of it, and they were getting 8 yards a clip. That's probably what I would have done. But
you kick it, you go down by 1, and you know you're going to get the ball back.
I get it to a point. I mean, to me, I don't even think it should have got there. Even I still don't understand Pittsburgh's play call with 3rd and 1. They're so always hell bent on going for the jugular and killing the game right there to run Connor up the middle. Didn't really get it. I would have spread them out, run some little hitch. Worst case scenario, Ben takes a sack and you're right where you were with Connor. Yeah, I just there were some weird calls on both sides of the field where I just didn't understand. But
well, let's break the game down. Let's talk about the Steeler offense. What did you like about the offense today?
There wasn't much. I mean, I don't think they were very good, TJ. I know the second half Ben went on that kind of that terror, but I mean, still, I think he had 178 yards passing, 190 yards passing.
Ben finished up pretty good. Ben was 21 for 32, $182, 2 TDs. They put him on the ground twice. QB rating of 101.3. It's a pretty good day at the office.
He was bad in the first half. I think he had maybe 40 yards in the first half period.
Yeah. I think again, what impresses me about the Steelers now is they're in, you know, their halftime adjustments were great. Lamar Jackson, 13 for 28, 208 yards, 2 TDs, 2 interceptions. He had 2 fumbles too, didn't he? If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
He put it down 4 times. QB rating 65.8. Those aren't MVP numbers.
I agree. If he doesn't throw those 2 interceptions, I mean, those 2 interceptions were backbreakers. I mean,
so he's got in the last 2 games against the Steelers, he has 5 interceptions and 2 fumbles.
I don't disagree with you, man. He choked. I think the Steelers have.
That's last year's MVP.
I agree.
Think about that.
I agree with you. The Steelers had him confused when he was throwing the ball, but like I said, I don't know why if I'm the Ravens and I'm up by 10, I wouldn't even have let him remotely throw that. The biggest play of that game was that interception the Steelers had in the second half. That kind of started the whole fire.
It did.
And
the reality is this: he could have had maybe even a couple more picks. I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah,
let's talk about
you're right.
Let's talk about the Steelers offense. So, I mean, there were a few bright spots again. Juju looked good. Ebron looked good.
I thought Juju I think he only had like 69 yards, but I thought a lot of his catches were huge. He had a lot of chain saving, a lot of combat catches where he's breaking tackles to get big first downs. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, other than Juju and Ebron.
Yeah. Well, Claypool had, I think, about 6 or 7 targets today. Mm-hmm. And, he came up with a big touchdown too. Again, it's just, Deontay, he was non-existent. Mm-hmm. Now, I got to tell you this, I was impressed with this. And again, you don't see this on the stat line, but the Steelers used the aggressiveness of the Ravens to their disadvantage. And they got a couple huge pass interference calls with these guys running down the field. And you know what? Even though it doesn't show up as part of your offense, it really is. So I think they used that well. Why is Samuels on the field at all?
I don't know. I didn't understand some of that either when he was on the field at all. It just didn't make sense to me.
He's big and he's slow. I don't understand. I mean, we had to know this. We had to know too. I didn't think the Steelers were going to be able to run on the Ravens. They ran just enough to kind of keep them honest.
But you know what? I didn't think until they went down 10. I didn't think Connor was having that bad of a day. I think he was. Mm-hmm. He was actually. They were actually running the ball down on him a little bit, but then they got down by 10. There's just you had to kind of spread them out and just go. You know, what I mean, so. The offense was that offense isn't going to work against a KC. I'll tell you that right now. But
KC doesn't have the Baltimore defense, so I think they'll be better. But so, who was your offensive player of the game? If you had to pick one, who would you pick?
I would go with Juju because I think he just had some combat catches that were pretty big, and like I said, he had a couple big catches that he just broke some tackles and got some key first downs.
Yeah, I agree. I think he was good too. I'm going to go with Ben. I think Ben played a great game. He played within himself, which is good. I like the offensive adjustments. I thought they were good. Little bit of a scare there. They sat with Ben for quite a bit with his arm. Now I saw in the thing he said he just banged his funny bone. I hope that's the truth because they were working that arm pretty good.
Yeah. Yes, I got quite the flashes. They started going in my head, going, "Oh my god!" Here, I kept thinking, I was like. It instantly went into like, is there anybody we can pick up? Can we go trade for Fitzpatrick? Can we go do something? It was bad, but we'll see.
Yeah. So the offense, they did enough to win. I mean, they did, they put up, 21 points because we got that one pick six from the defense. Mm-hmm. Speaking of the defense, let's talk about the defense. What were some of your thoughts about the Pittsburgh defense today? They gave up a lot of yards.
You can't give up, what they give up close to 300 yards rushing?
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot.
I think it had a lot to do with when Alu went out of the game. You're kind of like, you could see because the first couple drives they weren't really doing anything on the ground. When he went out, that's when they kind of started gashing him. Kind of going, wow. Put it this way: the turnover saved that defense's rear end for that game. Truthfully,
4 takeaways.
You got the takeaways, but you can't give up. You can't give up that many yards. Truthfully, with that many takeaways, the Steelers should have probably buried the Ravens. That's kind of gets you a little bit nervous, though, too. They turn the ball over that many times. You probably should bury teams, but got to stop the run. They made plays. They made big splash plays when they needed to.
They did, and they look like they played fast too. Hey, your man, Splain right out of the gates got a 33-yard pick six.
Couldn't believe it. Man.
He did struggle a little bit through that. Again, he's not great with pass coverage, but he did lead the team, I believe, in tackles. He had 11 tackles, 10 solo. Yeah, which is pretty impressive. There's nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. Again, he fills the hole. Now, we don't have a lot of depth in that position. I did see Marcus Allen got on the field today.
He stinks,
made a tackle.
He stinks, TJ. He stinks, dude. I saw him the couple times he was on there. Like, truthfully, if it wasn't for Fitzpatrick at the end of that game, mm-hmm. He's the one. That pass goes right over his head. And I'm going to myself, why? You should be playing. The only place they can beat you is on the goal line. So you should be playing at least on the goal line. And he was playing like on the 5-yard line. I'm going, what are you doing? Don't do that.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense.
No.
I think it's time they need to go get somebody. But you're right. The defense did look good. It was crazy. But in the end, they were bending, but they didn't break. And again, it reinforces for defense. You can give up all the yards you want. Takeaways are king.
Yeah,
if you could. Yeah. So, to 4-0 for takeaways. And I think this, and I love this. I think the defense understood that they were in Jackson's head. He looked like a different player. He couldn't do anything today. Again, a few times Bud had that one where he took a wrong angle on him and he zipped outside. Mm-hmm. But other than that, when you make Jackson beat you with his arm, the only big plays he had were the ones straight down the middle. Those things on the side, I agree with you. He's not a sideline to sideline passer.
No, he is not. And the one thing that doesn't make any sense to me is I don't understand why it's so hard to stop that dive, that dive over the guard center gap. I don't understand why they can't. I don't understand how any team can't stop that.
They do that weird zone blocking. Denver made that famous where they don't necessarily go to a man, they go to an area.
But my thing is, if you're staying on your keys,
Mhm.
they should never, like you saw earlier in that game, anytime Lamar, they did that, the read option, TJ Watt didn't care who didn't, his key was
just
pounding
hit Jackson,
Lamar.
just hit Jackson. Yep.
And you saw later in the game that it kind of stopped doing that, which didn't make any much sense. And the thing I did like a lot what that defense did, which I think surprised Baltimore a lot, if you look early in that game, they actually had a lot of linebackers on the field at that time because they had the rookie outside guy. They had TJ up there. They would move Bud or TJ into the middle.
Yes.
With the two other, with Spillane and Vince Williams. So you technically had 5 linebackers on the field at one time, which I thought was a pretty.
It's brilliant, actually.
It is. When I saw it, I go, wow. I was like, that's pretty brilliant, and I didn't know why they didn't stay more into that because I don't think Jackson could have beat you throwing the ball. I just don't think it could have happened.
No. But I'll tell you what, Highsmith is looking like a great draft pick too, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's a rookie too. He looks fantastic out there. I'll tell you what, and he had that pick and he looked great. That's an athletic pick that he had. Again, I still think it would be great for them to pick somebody up, but if they don't, if they think they can run like this, that's great too.
If Alu has if he's banged up and you don't know, I don't know what was going on with Cam at the end of the game. I don't know if he was just playing tired to kind of get the defense.
He looked like he was gassed. So
you got to hear what's on him. If something's with him, I mean, it almost forces you to go out and try to grab somebody, which I would love to see them maybe go grab that Poe. Deontay Poe kind of cut from Dallas and he was a little overweight, but I think for Dallas, I mean, he was a first.
Take him in the middle.
He was a first rounder. He can take up space. I thought Bugs came in.
Bugs was huge. That hit, that 4th and 2 on Jackson. Boy, I'll tell you what, he did the whole cat and mouse. He led him right into that hole and then he just shut him down. That's a heck of a play.
I thought he was soft in the first quarter or so when he came in. Then he kind of
second half. He played his tail off the second half. He did pretty well.
Yeah, man.
They ran off tackle on him, so he was. So who's your defensive player of the game?
I mean, you can't with the stats. You can't point but anybody. 41 had a game. I mean,
your guy. He's your guy.
But 10 tackles, a pick 6. I know he had a fumble recovery. I know the Jackson one 4th. He fumbled. So technically a fumble recovery. And I think he had a forced fumble too. I mean, that's a stat stuffing day. I mean, if so here's the question. Is his jersey going to be in the mail? Nah. Oh no.
Do they even make his jersey? Can you even get his jersey?
I would have to get that from China and have time to put the letters on, but that would take I probably won't see that thing I probably won't see that thing till after February, after every Super Bowl time.
That might be just in time.
If you want my overall, who my MVP the game was, my player of the game was on offense, defense, everything. My player of the game was Marky Mush. Didn't text me, didn't call me, nothing till after the game. It was glorious. It was glorious. It's glorious. He made it off the list just for that game.
So there you go. Mark did it.
He's still on the list, but he is my overall player of the game. Marky Mush is my player of the game.
I got to go with you with number 41. I think he played his tail off today, so he's my defensive player of the game. Let's talk a little bit about the special teams. We get Barry back. That first
guy
kick
stinks. He stinks.
Was awful.
Sucks. He sucks at life. He sucks.
Yeah, that was not very impressive. We're gonna need somebody to kick them all down the road. I think the return game looked decent, but man, he was just terrible.
I mean, I think I saw somebody tweet out, LaMarquez King, give him a call, and I said, how about anybody, a dead body, anybody? I just don't understand how I watch college games and I see these college kids kick the ball. How do we have the worst of the worst? I don't understand. He stinks.
I don't know. They're so bad. They are. They're really bad. We got to get somebody, maybe, I don't know, Cole quit. He's kind of gone the way,
they bring him back. It's like that's like trying to shine up the shiniest turd between those two. That's what it's trying to
do. It's bad. Hey, we'll need somebody to kick unless our offense can really, kick it up a notch, but we'll see. Didn't see Snell at all, hardly. Did he run the ball at all? Did he touch anything?
I didn't see him at all. I did not see him at all, which was kind of – I thought I'd see him over Samuels, which was But
I'll tell you what, you could tell too that Tomlin must have been preaching do not fumble the ball, because even if you watch Juju and those guys, anytime they caught the ball, they were not like, hey, we're going to go break away and make a great play. We're wrapping this thing up. And, it was, you could tell that they were very ball conscious today, which is good. Mm-hmm. That's good coaching. So here you had Harbaugh and you had Tomlin matched up again. Who do you think won the coaching battle?
I mean, the Steelers won, so I'm going to say the Steelers. I'm going to say Tomlin won because of the Steelers winning. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, it was even. It was an even game. We couldn't win either way.
Yeah. Go ahead. It went the Steelers' way. So Tomlin's our guy. It did. He did good. So there we go.
I mean, I didn't like the way Harbaugh was, which I think he has legitimate beef about. I heard he was kind of crying after the game a little bit, which I didn't understand why on the last play they didn't add more time. Because I guess the rule states, the time should be stopped when the player's hurt. And Cam was hurt way before 8 seconds were left on that clock.
Yeah, but it's when they recognize it. So they didn't recognize it. I mean, you could be hurt laying on the ground and you're not going to stop the play.
That's tough. I mean, to me, I think he has legitimate beef with that. I think they should have put more time on the clock.
Yeah.
But they were complaining about the play at the end of the game that it was a head hunting.
Which is dumb.
I was like, Mika was actually going for the ball. I think Mika hit it first.
He did. I mean, he's got as much right to the ball as anybody else. So this is why I like Tomlin. You know what he'd say to that? We do not care.
I almost wore the shirt.
You should have worn the shirt. We do not care. Yeah, don't whine about it. It's done. It's over. I mean, what do you do? Would you hear Belichick whining about stuff like that?
Oh, I heard
we
Belichick.
Do not care.
There's a quote from last week that he is complaining about something about his roster with the salary cap. Because they said, really? I saw something tweeted, was like, would you ever hear Tomlin or Colbert complain about this? I go, wow, it's pretty weird seeing the hoodie complain a little bit, but it is what it is.
Let me ask you a question about Belichick. So the greatest coach of all time, is he? Now that you see Brady,
that team is depleted up there, man.
Hey, TJ. Now that you see Brady having the success, how much of it was Belichick and how much of it was Brady?
TJ, I can't go by that New England team up there this year. Their whole defense opted out beginning of the year. That team stinks right now. That they have no talent up there. I don't think Edelman's out. I would love to see the Steelers this depleted. I mean, I know they lost Ben last year, but they still had a ridiculous defense and they had pieces on offense. They don't have
why did they have everybody opt out?
Because I think he's cheating. Somehow, some way, Belichick's cheating. You know why? You know what I think is? You know what I think? You know my opinion? I think he's trying to cheat enough to tank so they can draft their next quarterback. That's what I think he's doing.
Well, he's going to have to do a lot worse than the Jets, and that's a tall order because the Jets are terrible.
The Jets are so bad at football.
They're a dumpster fire right now.
I mean, but they only had 2 wins.
They're bad. I know.
But New England has 2 wins. I mean, I love to say, you hate to see it. Hate to see it. Like I said, the Browns, hate to see it lose today. Just hate to see it. Hate to see it today. You know what I mean? But they are dumpster fire. The New England stinks, man. They stink. Bad. I can't name one of their receivers.
No, they're bad. But I mean, it's like that almost every year. They don't have great receivers. They win by committee.
I mean, you can name some of their offensive players. They're awful. They suck, man.
I'm just saying, now, Belichick looks like he's all world, and everybody I think thought that perhaps he made Brady. I mean, maybe it's a little bit of both, but now if you don't have a high caliber QB, it's hard to win in the NFL.
Yeah, you got to understand though too that I think wasn't he before he left Cleveland, got fired from Cleveland, they had 11 wins at one point. I think Belichick's a pretty good coach, dude. I think he's.
I'm not saying he's not a good coach. Greatest of all time. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see how he does in the next 2 to 3 years. If he doesn't turn it around in 2 to 3 years, let's say year 4, then I think that's in jeopardy. That's just me.
They'll probably have Tom Brady's son come up there for somehow, some way.
Probably.
Or before Tom. Tom Brady will still be playing. He'll go back to New England, but they put more skin over the robot body.
Probably the Terminator, the T-2000. Before we get rolling here and finish up, we did have some mail come into the Yinzer mailbag. What is the Yinzer mailbag, you probably ask? Well, it's when you, the fans, get to ask us, the Yinzer Bros, anything you'd like about the Steelers, the win, the podcast. If you had any ideas, got any questions, you could send them to yinzerbros@gmail.com, and we will do our very best to get you on the show. Your buddy Mark did email us. He's one of our faithful listeners, and he makes his comment. He says, first, thanks, Tim. I respected your stupid superstitions, and I went radio silent today. Mark, we say together, thank you for your radio silence.
I'm telling you, player of the game, Marky Mush.
Marky Mark.
He may be the mayor of Pittsburgh by the end of the show.
And he has this follow-up thing. He says, Tim, he says, you owe the Steeler Nation an apology for threatening to put an offensive and defensive stars on the list like Spillane and Claypool. I know you had threatened to put them on the list. And again, they both kind of came up big. Claypool had a touchdown today, and Spillane was your player of the game. Tim is speechless. He's speechless right now.
Valid point. Next.
Okay. And this is a valid question. How many more throws do you think Ben has left? The doctor was with him all day. Should the Steelers trade for a backup QB?
You need to shut your mouth, Marky Mush. Keep that out of your mouth. I don't even want to think about that. I mean, I was scared seeing the doc. But anytime you got, what's his, Dr. Bradley over there?
Yeah.
You never want to hear Dr. Bradley on the broadcast. And I heard Romo, Dr. Bradley over, look at Ben's arm, going, oh, no, there, Tony. Yeah, dude,
I was looking for the Mr. Miyagi, get him back out there stuff. But I mean, he does bring up a good question about the backup. I mean, obviously Mason's the guy, but at some point,
what are you going to do? What do you do now, TJ? You're not going to bring anybody in now.
No, you're not going to bring anybody in now. But I still like Darnold. I think Darnold would be a good pickup in the offseason.
We got Mason. Every time I look at Mason now, when I see his stupid face, all I keep picturing is what's the cowboy from Toy Story?
Woody.
That's it. He's his stupid face like Woody from the Toy Story. If he gets in the game, bad news. Bad things are going to happen.
He does, so we don't want him in there. I agree. That means so if he gets in there, either we're up by $1 billion or something went really bad with Ben. So it'd be great. Hey, we go up against Dallas. It'd be great if we didn't have to chuck the ball too much. How about this one? Here's a question. Any word on Alu Alu? Have you heard anything about his status at all?
No, we better do something. I don't know. I hope he's not hurt long term because I know they already got Wormley's about to go on IR too, which is one of their backup guys.
He was still standing on the sideline. So I think if he was terrible, they would have had him down somewhere else. He was standing there watching. So I think he's okay. And again, we'll find out about again, too.
What does that mean?
Well, if you
get out there. TJ, what are you talking about?
Well, they didn't cart him off. So, I mean, there's a chance. Hopefully he didn't tear anything.
TJ,
he twisted it,
TJ, when you're in the biggest game of your year and you go out the second series of the game and you're not coming back in, and you're standing there, you don't think it's serious? Let's paint the picture. This dude is a Samoan warrior. You would have to rip his legs off for him not to be playing that game.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a good thing. I think it's going to be one of those things where they put him, he's going to be about a 4 weeker, 4, 5, 6 weeker.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm just saying, I mean, we don't want to see anything torn. I don't want to see like a torn ACL or anything like that.
He might have a torn ACL because those type of dudes are tough. He's just sitting there.
Well, let's hope. I mean, I didn't hear even in the press conference. Tomlin didn't mention anything specific.
That's Tom, when he says like, I have no information for you till Tuesday. That's always never a bad thing. I've been checking the Twitter machine every 5 minutes to see anything on Cam or him, and I haven't heard. It's been dark silent. The last time it was dark silent like this, number 7 had a bad elbow.
Well, you keep checking the Twitter machine. Let's hope that he's doing okay. As soon as we find something else, Steeler Nation will let you know.
I mean, if something was wrong with Ben's elbow, I'd be willing to give. I don't even have a good elbow, but I would. I'd be maybe willing to sacrifice my daughter's elbow to help, just put a little ligament in there for Ben.
That's right, honey. It's all for the cause, babe.
It's all for the cause. It's all for the cause.
That's right. I get it. Here's another question. It says Steelers, they seem to have trouble running the ball consistently today. Yeah, it's the Ravens. I don't know what to even say about that. Did you think the Steelers are going to be able to run the ball today?
No, I mean,
I didn't either.
I thought them losing Judon was ginormous. I don't understand. I mean, that was soft. I don't know why he gets kicked out of the game for that, but whatever.
You know what? Yourself. I had my daughter said the same thing, and I told her the same thing. I said, babe, I said, if you're playing in the game, you have to be in control of your faculties. When you're out of control, bad things happen. I will tell you. We were watching the game. What was the second game? The Bears game. Did you see that game?
That was unbelievable. Dude just slapped him across the face.
Punch him in that. It's uncalled for.
He was
You're a professional.
I think he whispered to his ear, was like, what do the 5 fingers say to the face? And he just slapped him.
It's terrible. I mean, professional people, you can't do that. Tim, in your profession, have you ever wanted to punch somebody in the head?
No comment.
Well, you can't do it. You just can't do it.
I mean, but it's one thing to, if I want to punch somebody, they don't got a face mask and a helmet on. How stupid you got to be to punch somebody that has a face mask and a helmet on?
I don't get it. To me, it's just dumb. You got to be in control of your faculties, your emotions, all that stuff. Here's another question. It says, talk about the acquisition of Ebron. Is he finally paying off? Ebron had a good game today, and he showed today why we needed to pick him up. We actually have a tight end that can catch the ball, and that's a threat.
I agree. No, I thought he was very good today. I mean, but kind of wonders, like, where is Vance? Is he dead?
You see Vance, I think, in the power sets, but let's be real. Vance could catch the ball, but other than that one Spartan moment he had, I
don't know if he can catch the ball. I mean, he has paddles for hands too.
They actually got a decent tight end, so I think we're excited. Here's the last question. It says, do you think it's possible for this team to go undefeated? Wow, it's a big question. You look at the schedule. Who do we have left?
They got Baltimore. They got Buffalo. And I think Cincinnati's going to be a little frisky.
Yeah, they could.
I do think they're going to be a little frisky. No, they're not. TJ, I almost don't want them to go undefeated. In my dumb brain, I almost don't want them to go undefeated. I want them, I think to myself, I want them to taste that loss. It's going to make them mentally sharper later on in the year.
Well, here's a question. What if they go undefeated and they win the Super Bowl? Does Ben just say, you know what? It doesn't get any better than this?
I'm telling Ben, like, Ben, take your elbow, just ride off into the sunset. Because TJ, hypothetical, as a fan, as a Steeler fan, I probably have, realistically, in my life, I've been pretty hard on my body. I probably got about 25 good years left in my life.
And how old are you now, Tim?
40.
So you're saying about 60 you're checking out. Is that what you're saying?
Probably 60, 65 in that range.
Okay. I just want to make sure the listeners know what we're talking about.
I mean, you know our family health history. It's either, when you got the diabetes you're running from, or you're running from the heart disease.
Something's always chasing you down.
And you have the diabetes, so I'm guessing I'm on the heart disease train. So if they somehow went undefeated and won the Super Bowl, TJ, the Steelers, the rest of my life wouldn't even have to make the play. They wouldn't even have to go 500 the rest of my life, and I'd be happy knowing that I was alive to see the greatest team in NFL history from the greatest franchise. I may just do myself in right there. February, just it can't get any better right there. It can't. As a sports fan, as a Steeler fan, if they did that, it can't get any better. It can't. It can't.
You never know. I mean, it's a possibility when you look at the schedule. No, I mean, we do have the Ravens. I'll tell you what, though, we own Jackson. We're in his head.
I will say this: that game was to me. People say, "Oh, they play again in November, whatever," and I get it. That game right there was a crushing loss for the Ravens. If you look at their schedule, which I pointed out in our last podcast, they don't have an easy stretch up until that game coming up to the Steelers in November. We play a bunch of pansies, which, again, I say that in the Tomlin special. I feel it coming in this stretch of 3 games. So, I mean, theoretically, we could be 10-0 going into that game. And that game really not meaning anything to us. We could have a 3-4 game lead in the division.
Yeah.
So it's like one of those things like that's where I'm kind of in the back of my mind is I think why I don't think they could go undefeated or they'll go undefeated. I think they're just going to have such a large lead in the division at some point. They're not going to be playing any meaningful games come week 13, 14, 15. That's what I'm kind of thinking. I'm thinking a team like Buffalo may sneak up and bite them, or even you get some weird thing happen. So that's kind of where I'm at. I just know how the Steelers are. They always play better when they have the us against the world mentality.
They do.
So once I think they start getting, and truthfully, they're going to be favored the rest of the year in every game they play in.
Mm-hmm.
They are. They're going to be favorites no matter who they play the rest of the year. Besides, they went to KC. They played KC on the regular schedule. They do not play. To me, that's the only team they continue this path. They're not going to be favored against the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So that gets me a little nervous because the Steelers always play that underdog role like a charm. So I think somebody will sneak up on them, and we'll be gone. And me and you will be going, how did they lose this game?
Yeah, it may be something they need. I mean, I was peeking in or looking at Dallas and Philly, and you talk about two teams that are inept. They're terrible. How did they not flex that Sunday night game off there? I mean, I understand Dallas is Dallas, and they're doing numbers, but you're talking about two really, really bad football teams. I don't know why they're on a Sunday night, but
to me, the NFC East should only be allowed to play on Thursday night the rest of the year.
That's a good idea. Thursday or a Tuesday special.
That's it.
That is non-televised.
That's it.
I think you're right. All right. Well, that does it for the Yinzer mailbag. Again, if you get any questions for us, any comments, any ideas, any endorsements, we're open to endorsements too. You can email us at yinzerbros@gmail.com. Again, yinzerbros@gmail.com. If you're lucky enough, you may get your question answered on our show. So we know, again, the Steelers played a great game tonight against a very tough opponent. I believe I called the win.
You did, and I thought you called it 24-20. I thought you called the score.
I was close.
You sure?
We lost, or we won 28-24. I called 27-24.
I thought you called 28-24.
I wish I did. I almost got it right, but it's pretty close.
Like, man,
yeah, it's pretty close. I don't remember who my players of the game were, but I think they played great. Again, but none of that matters. The Steelers are looking tough. We're going to have a great week of listening to sports talk, right? Which is always great.
Mm-hmm.
And the good news is we play the Cowboys this week. So again, maybe they'll lose somebody else. They could get Dalton back. Dalton can, maybe give us.
If I was Dallas, you think we're in Lamar Jackson's head? Andy Dalton, we own real estate all through there as the Steelers. So I would start to me, the only way that they can counteract competing with Pittsburgh is throwing a kid that has Pittsburgh blood in his veins up against them and something fluky happening. That's true. Because, I mean, it's Pittsburgh on Pittsburgh, and it's strength on strength. Exactly. Tim, what a mess. It got so bad this morning. Tim sent me a picture of his daughter eating blueberry pancakes, and I asked him, I said, is this what she ate last week and the week before? Now, thankfully, yes. That is her pregame meal. And that can't change, Tim. TJ, she's ate that for the last month, and it will not change. That's good, because everybody's going to take one for the team. The only thing that would kill us if there's some type of blueberry shortage. Which I'm crossing my fingers. TJ, I'm even starting to eat them. Like there's some power pellets to me. I don't know what's going on. You eat them. You do whatever you did. You do it again. Again, don't forget, I will be dropping the Steelers-Cowboys preview at some point this week. Should be a fun game for us. I mean, that preview may only be 2.5 minutes long. Hey, it is what it is. That's good for us, right? Tim, do you have anything else you'd like to add on this Victory Sunday, this 28-24 Steelers over the Ravens Victory Sunday? I mean, everything's good except me. I've been woofing down Halloween candy. Like that was another part of the game that was bad. Like, but you didn't know, and I was stressed, woofing down candy like it was going out of style. How many candy bars do you think you ate today? Just give us a rough idea. I mean, my wife made these little bags of 4 candy bars a piece. We had, and there's probably, like I said, there's 20. I think there's 20 bags or something. We had one trick-or-treater. I've been hiding these bags. I mean, I have one right here right now.
Tim had a little pick me up before we got on the air. A little pick me up.
I was eating those constantly during the game. Like I figured the more chocolate I get into me, it was like the better chance we got. I was like, just got to keep eating chocolate, keep eating Snickers. I mean, I feel like I'm going to throw up right now if you want my god awful chocolate.
I don't know what you did, but whatever you did this week, you have to do it again next week, so we win this game. You better go get you some chocolate, because you know that candy you got in the house ain't going to last the next week. Tim, let's just be real.
I would be lucky if that candy lasts till Tuesday night. Lucky.
So fans, just so you know, what's the combination that the fans have to send you to keep the mojo going? What is it again?
We have mini Twix, we got Kit Kats, we got Snickers, and we got Reese's.
That's the 4. That's the magic 4. So if you'd like to help the cause, you can email us, and then we'll give you Tim's home address so you can send supplies.
Oh boy.
Because I mean, we're a national podcast now. So Tim, the world's behind us. I sent Tim a screenshot of one of my buddies. He's after the victory. He says he can't wait to hear the Yinzer brothers talk about us. Shout out to Tim Satrian.
I can't wait to have to search through candy for razor blades for the next month.
Well, it's all for the team. So again, we're going to have a great game. Look for our podcast that'll be dropping this week. Again, I'm TJ. I'm here with my brother Tim, and we are the Yinzer Bros. Stay classy, Pittsburgh. We'll talk to you soon.